Hey, it's Ernest from Trip Astute. In this video, we're going to cover something that I struggle with when traveling and being outdoors, and that's wearing a hat. I have to admit that I never considered myself a hat person. I remember when I was a kid, all the cool kids were wearing baseball caps to school, and when I tried to do the same, it just didn't work for me. Not only was it uncomfortable, but then I would get a really bad case of hat hair. It might be because I do have really thick hair that tends to get really big and bulky whenever the weather is hot or humid. Fast forward to when I was a cadet in college and I realized I was going to be wearing a hat every time I was in uniform. It didn't change the fact that it was uncomfortable, but I had shorter hair, so it was less of an issue. On some recent trips, I've managed to get some bad sunburns while hiking and being on the water. In fact, we did a few hikes at Zion National Park last month, and I ended up getting badly burned, especially on my face. With age comes wisdom, so I decided that I want to start wearing a hat when I'm outdoors. Since I know a lot of you also travel and explore the outdoors, I thought I'd share my experience when looking for hats. But first, if you're new here, I want to welcome you to our channel. Trip Astute is a travel channel that is focused on sharing ways to make travel easier, affordable, and more enjoyable. Traveling can be stressful and expensive, so we're looking for ways to help you maximize your experience through travel tips, points and miles, and innovative gear. If that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing. Today I want to share some hats that I've been wearing to help protect my face from burning. If you're going somewhere where you'll be out in the sun and exploring, especially if you're close to the equator, then you're going to want to wear some kind of hat to protect yourself. In our case, Fiona and I are fairly active hikers. We hike at least once or twice during the weekends and tend to spend a lot of time in the sun. The two hats that I'm going to share with you today are the two that I found to be the most comfortable and effective for my use. Keep in mind that I tend to favor functionality over form. That being said, I am a bit self-conscious about wearing a hat, so I think these two hats actually look good compared to some of the other options out on the market. Some of you might still think I look dorky, but I'm okay with it. First up is the traditional baseball cap. While there are a ton of variations in this style of hat, I do find most of them to be a bit uncomfortable for my needs. I did recently pick up a hat from REI called the Streamline cap, and I really like it. It's made of nylon and polyester and has a bit of a military cap look. What I like about the cap is that it wicks moisture pretty well and has some nice ventilation on the sides. The hat has little straps to hold your sunglasses, and the brim is foldable for easy packing. The brim also floats in case you lose it while on water. The cap definitely helps to keep sunlight off my face and offers a UPF 30 rating. The drawbacks of a baseball style cap is that while it protects your face, it often leaves your neck and ears exposed. So if you're going to be exposed to the sun for a long period of time, it's probably worth checking out a more protective option. That's where a wide brim hat comes in. There are a ton of choices out there when it comes to wide brim hats. You'll see bucket hats, boonie hats, and really a lot of very strange looking hats that can protect you from the sun. I personally have a Tilley airflow hat, which is one of their suplex nylon hats with a ventilating mesh at the top. In terms of looks, I think it's more Indiana Jones than Gilligan's Island. I actually got this Tilley hat a few years ago, but it's slightly too small. I've managed to stretch it a bit, but I would love to get a new one at some point in the correct size. These hats are expensive, but the quality is solid. Just do a quick Google search on Tilley hats and you'll find an entire following of people that love them. A lot of people love Tilley products, their history, and their customer service. They are a Canadian company with a very strong reputation for producing quality products and standing by their customers. Besides the high quality, this hat has a couple of unique features that sets it apart from others. One is the dual strap system that keeps your hat in place when you're in a windy environment. Basically, one strap goes under your chin and the other behind your head to prevent the hat from flying away. You don't have to use it, but it's there if you need it. There's also a hydrophil sweatband which helps to absorb and wick sweat, a secret pocket where you can store small items, and a foam top that will float in water. The hat can be crushed or compacted to fit in your suitcase or day pack, which makes it perfect for traveling and the outdoors. Tilley also has a lifetime guarantee on their hats, which is another reason they have such a loyal customer following. This particular hat, which is the LTM6 model, has a broad 3¼ inch brim on the front and back, so it's meant to give you a lot more protection from the sun. It has a UPF 50 rating and keeps a lot of the sunlight off my neck and ears too, which can make a big difference when you're out in the sun all day. Though the drawback is that the hat can get pretty warm, even with the vent on top. The Suplex nylon is very lightweight and durable and is even water resistant, but I think the trade-off is that it doesn't breathe as well as organic materials like cotton or hemp. Tilley makes a ton of different hats with different size brims and materials. There is a cotton version of this hat that is marketed for hiking called the hiker's hat. I wasn't able to get one from the company to test out and review, but it's one that I'm personally interested in getting. It's similar to my current Tilley hat, but it's made of organic cotton and has a pad that you can soak in water and store in the upper pocket. This is supposed to cool you down with evaporation. Since my biggest issue when wearing my current Tilley hat is the heat, this feature seems very appealing to me. Lastly, here are a couple of tips for wearing a hat. These are things that help me to get more comfortable with wearing a hat, especially since I've been resistant to the idea for so long. Number 1, wear your hat loosely. While a lot of us are used to wearing our hats snugly on our heads, I recommend wearing your travel or hiking hat a little bit more loosely, especially if you tend to feel warm. I even keep my REI screenline cap loose since it tends to trap less heat and is so much more comfortable to wear. If you opt for a Tilley hat, then you'll need to figure out your specific size. Unlike other hats, they come in exact sizes rather than the small, medium, and large size that we're used to seeing. There's a lot of information on their website on how to measure your head, though I suggest intentionally keeping the measurement loose. For example, if I measure my head tightly, I get 23 inches. Though if I measure it loosely, it's closer to 23 and a quarter, which is a much better fit when it comes to the Tilley hat. When in doubt between two sizes, I suggest going with the larger size. Number 2, consider lighter colors for warm weather. A lighter color hat is going to absorb less heat than a darker color hat. If you're trying to stay cool, this can make a big difference. Also, a dark color under the brim is helpful as it absorbs light away from your face. Of course, if you're looking for a hat to keep you warm in the winter, then a dark color will probably be better suited for that purpose. Number 3, wear sunglasses and sunscreen. Even with a hat, it's still worth protecting your eyes and the rest of your body with sunscreen. I personally love polarized sunglasses. If you don't know the difference between regular and polarized lenses, definitely check out our video on the topic. Number 4, wash your hats. Most hats can be washed and you should definitely do so, especially if they get covered in sweat. Sweat stains can be tough to remove, so it's better to get them washed sooner rather than later. For example, my REI screenline cap is hand washable and my Tilley hat can actually be machine washed. Do you have a favorite hat for traveling or outdoor activities? If so, please share them below in the comment section. I've included links to the products featured in the video description. TripAstute does get a percentage if you use our link. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps us to continue building content for this channel. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please give us a thumbs up and consider sharing the video with others who might benefit or enjoy our content. Until next time, travel safe and travel smart.